Hello. Okay, so I'm glad you're here. If you want me to answer that question, AI coding agents, are they as good as we thought they are at coding? You have to stay till the end of the talk. I'm not going to answer it right away, because otherwise there would be no tensions and no talks, and you would just go and have a beer right now. So no. Okay. First of all, before I answer your question, I need to ask you a question. Can you name an AI coding agent for me? Yeah? Oh, actually, Sonnet is the model. It's not it's half right. Okay, sorry. What? Okay, yeah. Oh, I'm expecting a name, but nobody say it yet. Yes, exactly. Anything else that is a name that I really want to hear? Yay, Junie. Okay. Thank you so much. You have been amazing. Right. So who am I and why am I talking about this? So I'm going to quickly go over why I'm doing this. I'm a data science veteran. I'm also now working in JetBrains. That's why I want to tell you about Junie. This is not a sales speech, so we can talk about Junie afterwards. I also have a failed attempt of building an AI coding agent, which is not Junie, and that's why they don't hire me to build Junie. My colleague did, so yeah. But I'm a customer zero of Junie, so before anybody use it, I tried it myself, and actually I quite like it. Yeah, and also I have a love-hate relationship with AI. So yeah, that's me. Hi. Right. So first of all, what are AI agents? So when I was taught to debate in school, we have to first describe the questions that we're asking, right? So first of all, what are AI agents? So AI agents are software programs that it can interact with the environment and collect data. So we all know, without data, there's no AI. So yeah, data is quite important, which can come to bite us, which I would also mention it at the end of this talk. It will also perform tasks to achieve some goals but the keyword here is predetermined. So it's supposed to be there to do what we tell it to do. And the last thing is that it independently choose the best action to reach those goals. So it needs to come up with a solution. It needs to come up with a action plan or decisions to give back to the user at the end. So AI agents are everywhere now. Customer support, again, love-hate relationship. It's good that I don't have to have a set amount of I can basically get support 24/7, right? But sometimes there is no human on the other side of the line, and sometimes the answer is not very satisfactory. Also, another place that AI agent is being used are productivity. So AI coding agents is help me with my productivities. I can basically open 2 projects and coding in both projects at once, because I'm just waiting for the agent to do something on this one. I can work over the other one, which is dual wheeling of coding projects. Healthcare. I have also been to a conference in London, and it's an AI conference, but it's very interesting because it's an AI conference designed for osteopathics, so doctors. And I go there because I thought if one day I get older and I need a hip replacement, I can get a discount from the doctors. I know, so that's why. But anyway, yeah, AI for doctors. So at that conference, a lot of doctors we discussed about how they can use AI to help their work. So yeah, AI agent could be actually, if not now, maybe in the future, that it will be used in healthcare. So it's very important things, And then at the end, personal assistants, we all know that now, if you buy a new iPhone, probably Apple will try to tell you, to convince you to buy the iPhone because they have a, AI assistant in their phone. So you can, do a lot of things without using your brain. So, wow, our lives are full of AIs, actually. So like I mentioned before, one of the things that I use a lot that is powered by AI is AI coding agent. Namely Junie, because I can use it for free. Why not? Well, you can use your whatever. Again, this is not sales speech. So in general, AI coding agents, right? I think a lot of you are using them. So when we're using it, we can't avoid to ask these questions, right? How do they work? we are, we are data scientists. Hopefully you are not like, a random person on the street thinking that AI is magic and, believing in all these like things people say online and like, wow. But also, what's the catch? Like, right, like it's very good. It's a very good technology, but is there any pitfall that we could fall into if we are relying on it too much? Are they reliable? Maybe they are not reliable. Maybe we would, again, like have them coming to bite our bottom when we are not using them correctly. So, yeah, I think that's one thing that I keep advocating for the community or the society is that we have to be AI literate. We have to understand how all this amazing tool works. So when we're using them, we won't be like scared by those questions, or we would know what question to ask actually when we're using those AI coding agents. So this is a very simplified kind of flowchart of how an AI coding agent works. So there are different stages of how it works. So first of all, as a user, you've probably already seen it, that you have to give it a prompt, right? So the AI agent will first understand the task via your prompt. So again, powered by NLP and LLM, then your prompt will be understood by the agent. But also the agent needs to get the information that it needs. Probably it needs to understand the project and the code, like what are you working on? If you are using AI agent in a Django project, it's very different from like you're using AI agent in your data science project. And there may be different meaning in the context, right? The task of like adding tests could actually end up being very different in a Django project and a data science project. So so basically both of them are the information that agent need to obtain before moving on to the next stage. So again, like with the help of LLM, so you can understand the task. It's very weird, like we use all these words that like, assuming that the AI coding agent is a human, like understand, like a computer can understand what we're doing. But again, like anyway, so with LLM, so now all this can be processed, all this information, the prompt and the information about your project can be processed. And then what's the other end of it, the outcome from the LLM would be a action plan or a solution. And then after that, like it's up to us, the developers and who design this agent to put that into action. Execute the plan, see if it works. Sometimes, tests are needed because we want things to be done correctly. And then the result will be evaluated whether the action plan that the agent, the LLM come up with are feasible, are correct, or are there any, errors in it. So if there are like improvement need to be made or modification need to be made, then it should be feeding back to the, again, the cycle, continues. So it will be going back to the LLM. Can you have like an action plan to fix it, or, just scrape it and create another one? So until a satisfied result has been obtained, then you can present it to the user. And of course, the user is the one who is like making the final call whether they accept this result or not. Which is if you have used those code agents, you can always roll back if you don't like the result. So this is kind of like more specific towards coding agents. So for example, like I said before, right? Like before you kind of get the information to the LLM. So first of all, we have to set the scene. So we have to, before we just ask the question of like, for example, adding more tests. So we need to tell the LLM that like, what are the assumptions, what are the environment that we have for this project? For example, what tools are available? Let's say you can add or delete files in this project. So those are the tools, adding files and deleting files. Those are different tools. Also, the action plan, what format do you want to come back? Because at the end, we have to evaluate and put it into action, right? So do you want it as a JSON format or, TOML format? And, so we, like the LLM need to have, this understanding of what format you're expecting. Otherwise, you can't parse it, right? Like, what if you are expecting a JSON format and they give you a TOML format? It's like totally can't parse it with a JSON parser, right? So having the format kind of, already, you can decide what format you want to use and tell the LLM to follow that format. Some of the format work better than the others, but again, that's another story. Next is to generate the action plan. Again, like you have to have the API call to, provide all those information, send them to the agent. It could be a cloud agent. A lot of large language model are available. For example, OpenAI have the ChatGPT, and then they have even like a Python client that you can use to send all this information to it. But the alternative is, of course, use an open source model and either host it in one of, whatever you have available. You can host it in your own cloud compute, or if you have a server, or even run it locally, right? If your machine have enough power, you can also run it locally. Maybe you have a extra GPU just for that, then you can, run it on that as well. So ideally, we would, again, like LLM would give you a action plan that you could parse it and it will be ready to execute. So the next step, of course, execute the action plan. During execution, we want to document the result as well. What works, what doesn't work, what fails, and if it fails, what are the errors? So after that, we will have the whole evaluation, which we would, send back to the LLM to LLM, like, is this good or not? If it's not good, are there any way to fix it? Is there any follow-up, action we have to take, or do we need to scrape it? So all of these, again, it's the final stage, which could bring us back up to the other stages that you need to go into circles. So this is some of the code I use in my oversimplified AI coding agent. So this is where I set the scene for the LLM. So you can see my prompt is to you're an AI coding agent. Your task is to, the goal. What is the goal of the agent? Is to help user with their coding task. So maybe create code. That's the goal. So here I listed 2 tools. Of course, this is oversimplified. Normally you have way more tools than this, just 2 available to the agent. So, but as an example, because otherwise it will be super long and I can't show it all in one screen, will be list the files. So you can also kind of say what are the working directories, what directories you should be able to access to, because you may not want your LLM or agents to access to everything in your computer. So that's also, one of the things you have to set the scene for. Reading the files, they have permission to read the files. So if the action plan come up with I need to read that code so I can, modify it, then that would be one of the tools that the agent can have. So there's more, of course, you can write the file, you can delete the file, and then you can maybe start a new Python environment. There's so many things you can add there, but again, we will omit that for now. Next, then we would say that we want the action plan come back as a JSON format. We also provide some example of a template. So when we get the action plan back, we know how to parse it. So that's why we need that. Again, you can put more details in it. The more detail, the better, because then this makes the parsing job way easier afterwards. So this is the toolbox. So it's again Python code. So like I said before, all this tool listing the files. How can we? So because LLM give you the result is in a text, right? So if the LLM say we have to list all the files in this directory, so what does it mean? It means that I have to write some Python code to say hey, do the os.listDRL to list the file. So LLM again, you can actually ask it to give you a Python code to do that, but I think it's more standardized and more, you have more control over it if you created those tools yourself and actually what's going on because you write the code. Otherwise, LLM will just generate some code, you just execute them. It may or may not be a good thing. It could be a huge security risk. You may not want to do it. And then another example is to read the file. So again, use Python code to do it. So there are, again, other things. So you can also create those tools by a script or by using your own code. After that, of course, you need a parser for the action plan. So because we are using a JSON format, we would create a JSON parser. Again, you may have to run some experiment to see how the result come back. For example, this agent, when I was creating it, I'm using the DeepSeek open source model, DeepSeek as a Llama file, so it's like executable running on my computer using the GPU. So, the special thing about this DeepSeek model is that it will give me its thought process as a result as well. So there will be like, a big, think kind of paragraph of its thinking. That's necessarily not something that I want to show the user or something that I found useful, so I can remove it before I go to the action plan and pass the action plan. So again, like it depends on what model you're using, and you may have to run some experiment and study it to be able to create it. Next, to execute the action plan. So after you have passed the JSON into a Python dictionary, of course you can go through all the items and you can execute the code, like the tools, all of the tools are actually Python function, right? So you can just run them, and of course record the results. So we have other dictionary to store all the results after executing all those codes. And after we collect that, so we have a new dictionary that is like the evaluation of the result. We will pass it again, like pass it back to the LLM. This time we set another stage for it. It's like, okay, you're an AI coding agent, but now we have execute, the action plan, and please evaluate this result. And if it's not working, then please give us a better action plan or whatever. So so that's what you need to do. And then of course you give the action plan to the LLM and then see what's going on. After that, I skip all of those because again, it's just some designing of whether you want to, how much time you want to iterate until it gave up. Of course, you can't just trying and trying forever because then your agent would just be stuck. So, so you have to work out that part yourself. So that's how an AI coding agent works in a nutshell. So it's oversimplified. If you want to study more, there's so many things you can do to learn more. I will also recommend you try building something yourself just for fun. I'm thinking about building a AI travel agent, but I haven't built it yet, but we'll see. Anyway, so why we are using AI coding agents, right? Actually, it's kind of things that I know that a couple of years ago, there's majority of the people are still very skeptical about AI, and nowadays almost everybody is start using AI coding agents. And I know GitHub has done a survey in 4 countries. So I know they have done it in United States, India, and Brazil, and maybe one other country. I forgot where it is. But it has done some survey. The link is down there. You can have a look. It's a detailed blog post about the result. But to summarize, a lot of people who use AI coding agents, they claim that AI coding agents can help them to increase their work efficiency. It can help them to understand the codes better. And it will also help them to write more tests, so they'll have better test coverage. So in a nutshell, it seems that if AI coding agent, if we use it properly, then it could really give us a lot of benefits in terms of efficiency and maybe even working better as a team with your colleague because we are using the same AI coding agent. So. But as a user myself, I've also experienced a lot of times that the AI coding agents is a bit, why is it so silly and give me things that's so obviously wrong? So let's try to look a little bit deeper into it, how we can use AI coding agent better. So there's some strategy that, as the developer of the AI coding agents could adopt to make your agent better for your user. For example, you can't rely on the user to give you good prompt a lot of times. For example, there's a news article about how please and thank you is using a lot of money because they are just extra token that the LLM need to process. And if everybody is saying please and thank you a lot, then it's wasting a lot of money. But being British, we love saying please and thank you and being polite. So maybe having an input filter to kind of, filter out those polite words could help because, we don't want to teach people, especially young people and kids who grow up with these AI agents to be rude because they may be rude to the human being as well. So maybe having an input filter can do the trick. Of course, a bit better and more suitable LLM model. Nowadays, a large language model is getting bigger and more powerful. But sometimes, maybe finding a model that is specifically good for your use case would be crucial compared to using a general model. And it could, save you money as well, because we don't need, a general purpose huge model to do every single task. So benchmarking, that's why benchmarking come in and be very, very important, because you have to optimize your agents to a specific use case. Again, like building a general purpose tool is very, very hard, but building a specific tool for some specific task is, again, like way cheaper. If you're being smart, you can save a lot of money, being, more efficient and everything. So how to prove that you are actually doing the right thing is to benchmark. Like, for example, if you have AI coding agent, if it's designed specifically for Python, how can you optimize for the Python users? Or if it's like, this agent is for, multiple languages, how can I optimize each language for each experience? Because, how you optimize Python, maybe how you different from how you optimize JavaScript or Java, So benchmarking in each languages and optimizing it are very important. Last, of course, feedback. Like any product, having feedback is very important. Some of them, like, you may even, it depends on your, again, like usage agreement and stuff, like whether you can use the user's data to improve the experience or even train the model. For Journey, we don't train the model using any of your code, but, I don't know, maybe other agents does, I don't know. So as a user, how can we be smart, right? Like we have to use AI better. Like how can we smart and use AI coding agent better? Again, be direction specific. I know, again, we are British. We are very, we are not very good at being direct. But it's an AI coding agent. It's not your colleague. So you can be a little bit more prompt and like be specific to the point that like, use this library, or use this version. Sometimes like you even need to specify the version and maybe specify what approach you should use. Add more requirements there, be as detailed as possible. That would help your prompts to be getting a better results in general. Small tasks or breakdown steps for the big tasks, because a lot of times we may have to do some course correction, right? So if it's like a task that require a lot of like, action in sequence, then, it may be very hard, like, because at the end, like, you just get the result, which, may or may not be something you want. Like, if it's not something that you want, you should have actually, like, it would save you more time if you just break down the steps, and then each step you would double check whether that's something that you want and course correct if it's not. So rather than waiting for hours and then you get something that, you have to redo it again. Understand agents. So we have already done some of it. We try to like understand how AI coding agent work, but sometimes even like just, read the, when you're using AI coding agent, like what LLM model is actually using, is it most updated? One of the information I found it very useful when I'm using my agent is when is the knowledge cutoff point of your of the LLM that your agent is using. Because, for example, when I'm using Journey, when I'm creating some Django project, it keep using the get method for the logout view, which is deprecated. And I checked it's because the API changes after the cutoff point of the knowledge. So knowing the cutoff point of knowledge sometimes help you to debug why the agent is so silly, because it's not up to date. That's why, understand your agent is very important. Take precautions. Always double check your code. Sometimes, we are the owner of our own code, even if with the help of the agents generate the code. If something went wrong, if there's some security issue, you are taking the responsibility. I don't think you can just tell work that no, I didn't write the code. It's the agent that write the code. It's not my fault. No, it's still your fault because you don't check. So take precautions when you're using AI coding agent. So those concerns about AI coding agents, I've already mentioned a little bit of them. Cybersecurity, are the codes safe? Can I trust them, or can I trust the agent too? have control of my computer, right? To access my files, to delete my files. Data privacy is the agent collecting your data or your code to do something. What if they are collecting it? What do they use it for? Misinformation, again, like we can't trust AI, like whatever AI gave us 100%, right? There will be bias, there will be errors, which we call hallucinations sometimes. Those things, as a human, we have to take ownership. We have to take responsibility to double check. So, last things, if you forget everything that I've just said, this is the things that I think is the most important in this day and age. I'm trying to like teach everybody. 5 Bs when using AI. So first of all, be aware of personal data and read usage agreement. I know that we never read those usage agreement, right? We just like, get through the checkbox and then, next stage. But, data privacy and personal data, like, security is very, very important. So maybe just spend a couple of minutes, just at least skim through it, anything that catch your eye that's fishy, then maybe stop and think about it. Be critical of what AI tells you. Again, like now there's so many fake news, so many information online that may not be 100% true. Always double check. We don't want to be that lawyer that like on the head news there's like, oh, we use AI, that's why we hallucinate a court case and then now we have been banned from court. No, we don't want to be that person. Well, we're not lawyers, but maybe that could also happen for developers as well or data scientists. So be critical, take ownership of it. Be respectful of copyrights because I know nowadays people use AI to generate lots of artwork. For creative media, I think we still have a fine line that like whether generating something is a disrespect for human creativity and artists. So, so my take about it is to be honest when you're using about AI. Well, we are not artists. Maybe for your own fun project or just a meme that you share with friends, you can use AI to generate something fun. But please be honest about you're using AI to generate it, and play some credit and respect to. Let's say in the style of Van Gogh, so it's like, oh yeah, this is, generated with AI trying to mimic the style of Van Gogh. So like, that we are respecting the original creative artist behind it. At the end, be responsible. AI is just a tool. So if, let's say, if we don't use a tool properly and get someone hurt, we are responsible for that. If we are not being careful using a knife when we are in the kitchen and cut our fingers, you can't blame the knife. It's your fault. You're not being careful and you cut your own finger. So AI is also a tool. So be responsible, be careful. It could be a very good tool. It helps you chop all the tomatoes and make a very nice salad, but be careful when using it. So, okay, big elephant in the room. Are AI coding agents as good as we thought they are? I would say yes, but with Astra saying it depends. It depends on the user, whether you are using it properly. Also, technology is improving. We are all like, coders. Try to be part of it, right? Be part of the conversation. Even for, ranging from policy, whether like, this AI policy is good, or ranging from like if you can read research paper, then read research paper and, be AI literate and be part of the AI movement. And, if it's still not good enough, we can make it good enough, right? So that's the end. That's me, Cheuk, and feel free to connect with me. I think this QR code link to my link tree, which have all my social media, then you can follow me. And yeah, so thank you so much for coming to my talk, and see you around until the end of the conference.